Hey folks, welcome to another NCEA Level 1 Mathematical Reasoning exam paper. This is from 2024. If you're joining us for the first time, the way this video works is that I go through each question and let you know what you need to do for achieved merit and excellence. Now, the best way to watch this video is to pause the video at the start of each question, try the question out by yourself, and then unpause the video just to see how I go about answering these questions. So, without further ado, let's get started. Right, so for the first question here, what we've got is we've been given the perimeter, which is 56 centimeters, and we've got to figure out what x is. Now, we know that the 56 centimeters is the perimeter, which means this entire yellow border is 56 centimeters. There's a couple of ways you could actually do this. You could actually halve it. Because the yellow is actually worth 56, we can kind of say the green part and the two green parts is actually 28, because 56 divided by 2 is 28. So either method you can do. I'm going to do the 56 divided by 2, so I'm going to do that first to get 28 centimeters. So in other words, the green part is actually worth 28 centimeters. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the equations. So I've got 2x plus 3 plus 3x minus 5 equals 28. And now I'm going to combine my two like terms, which happens to be 5x. And then I've got 3 take away negative 5 is negative 2. And all of this is equal to 28. Rearranging, I'm going to get 5x is equal to 28. And I'm going to do negative 2 to the other side will become plus 2. So I've got 5x is equal to 30. And then x is equal to 30 divided by 5, which is also just 6 centimeters. So grades wise, you are looking at an achieved for this. So that gives you an achieved for this grade. Well, for this question. Okay, so let's go to the second question. So with approaching this question, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the diagram first. So I'm going to draw a rough little diagram, and that is ABC. The length of the side AB is y centimeters, so that's y. So that's basically I'm going to do this part here first. So that's AB. Then I've got AC, which is this one here. That's k centimeters long, longer than AB. So I can write this as y plus k, where k is bigger than 2. So don't worry about that. So just know that it's bigger than 2. Then the side BC, which is going to be, I'm going to go with pink here, so it's BC is actually 4 centimeters shorter than side AC. So here we're going to have 4 centimeters shorter, so that's going to be y plus k minus 4. And finally, they actually tell you that the perimeter of the triangle is 5 times the length of AB. So what I'm going to say here is perimeter is 5 times the length of AB. Now AB is equal to y. So that's the green part there. So my perimeter is equal to 5y. Now it's asking me to find the perimeter of the triangle. Give your answers in terms of k. So if I was to do this, perimeter of the triangle is taking those 3 sides and we're going to add them together. So we've got y plus k plus y plus k minus 4. So now the thing is, we've been asked to give in terms of k. So we've just got to be mindful of that. So the perimeter has to be given in terms of k. That means we've got to figure out a way to get rid of the y. So what we could do here is we know that the perimeter is equal to 5y. So I'm going to rewrite this as 5y as the perimeter. Now what I'm going to do is 5y is equal to, I've got 1, 2, 3. So that's going to be 3y plus k minus 4. And if I was to rearrange this, I'm going to get, what am I going to get? So rearranging this, I'm going to get 5y. Now the positive 3y when it comes to the left-hand side, that's going to become a minus. So it's going to become minus 3y equals k minus 4. So I'm just trying to think, what have I missed here? Yes, I realize what I've missed there. That's got to be 2. Yep, so 2y is equal to 2k minus 4. and then y is equal to 2k minus 4, and we're going to divide this by 2. And you might be wondering why I'm actually doing this. So this can be written as y is equal to, let me just do this one extra step. So y is equal to 2k over 2 minus 4 over 2, and then y is equal to k minus 2. Now, the reason why I did y in terms of k is because if you look at the original question here, the question's asking for perimeter of the triangle and give your answers in terms of k. Now, I have it in terms of y because perimeter is equal to 5y. But because they want it in k, I can just substitute. I can substitute the y from here, which is already equal to k minus 2. So I can write that as 5 times k minus 2. And you can leave your answer like that, or you can expand it, and you're going to end up with 5k minus 10. Now, grades wise, I think if you get to this stage here, you actually get an achieved. And then a merit is up to here. All right, let's go to question C. So we've got a lovely diagram to kind of start us off with. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and kind of break down each of the lines that they've talked about here. So the first kind of thing to notice is that we've got the points B, C, D. So that's points B, C, D. They're all joined to T. The next thing is BPCD forms a rectangle. That's a rectangle at the base. PB and PD are both perpendicular to PT. Now, PB is actually here and it's perpendicular to PT. And then likewise, PD is actually perpendicular to PT. So you kind of have to imagine it like a corner of the room. That P point is like a corner of a room where you've got the two walls meeting and, you know, the corner just going up. Now the question they are asking is find the length of PT, not of PT, CT. Now what we have is PT is equal to 8, so that's already given. Then we've got, what else do we have here? Then we've got BC, which happens to be 10. So I guess if this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the length of this particular line. And what we need to do is we can create a little right angle that's actually kind of going in a kind of like a wedge. So that's what it is. Now we already have, if we were to look at this right angle triangle in a side way, it's going to look something like this. Hopefully you guys can see that, where this is T, this is P, and this is C. Now PT we already have, 8. We're looking for the solid dark pink line. That's the question mark. So we need to figure out what PC is. And to figure out what PC is, we're going to use the right angle triangle along here. So notice how, even though it looks upside, like kind of like in a sideways, that's a right angle triangle there, where we've got DC is equal to 12, and then 10 is PD. So I'm going to take the green triangle now, and I'm going to kind of sketch it out here. And what I've got here is 10 and 12. So just to reiterate, this, I hope you can see that the green and the pink lines are one. For the green triangle, it's the hypotenuse. For the pink triangle, it's one of the sides. So we're going to find the, I think we'll put some labels as well. So that's going to be P, C, and D. So I'm going to find out what PC is first. So PC squared is A squared plus B squared. So I've got 10 squared plus 12 squared. And then PC is equal to square root of 10 squared plus 12 squared. So I'm just going to do that in the calculator real quickly. So we've got square root of 10 squared plus 12 squared. And that's equal to 15.6. So PC is equal to 15.62. That's this measurement here. And if we were to go back to the pink triangle, that PC, we've got PC there, that's going to be 15.62. So to figure out what CT is, so CT squared is equal to 8 squared plus 15.62 squared, and then CT is equal to square root of 8 squared plus 15.62 squared. Now I've actually got the answer here, and because I have the answer here, I am just going to do answer squared, because that's 15.62 squared, plus 8 squared. I just want to make sure that 8 squared is actually coming inside the square root bracket. There we go, that's better. And my answer should be 17.55. And I believe that's in meters. All right, so grades wise, we are looking at, what are we looking at? If you find PC or TB, now why would you find TB? But if you do find PC, then you actually get an achieved grade for it. And then finding CT at the end gets you a merit grade. All right, let's go to the next question. This question is actually a really, I love this question because, I mean, once you kind of understand some little tricks of it, these types of questions become really, really easy. So the first thing is that when you look at this particular question, what have we got? We've got six balls filling in a cylinder shape or a cubical, I think cuboid. And we're trying to figure out which one has the greater percentage of empty space. All right, so it's not, you know, it's not too bad, because the only thing that you're given here that you can use as measurements is this part right here, which is volume of each sphere is 150. So what we're going to do is, using the sphere formula, we're going to work out the radius of each of these balls, right? And remember, your formulas are given to you in the formula sheet, so you can always just look up. If you don't need to remember these formulas. I think triangle and square you kind of expected to remember, and maybe even circles. I might be wrong. Let me just double check. Okay, looking at this. So volume of sphere, that's the one that we're going to be using. Are you actually given area of circle? Oh, you've given area of circle as well. So the only thing you're not given is just square, area of a rectangle. So everything else, all the formulas are actually given to you. So we're going to use the sphere one, and we're looking at volume of sphere, which is 4/3 pi r cubed. So coming back here, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what the radius is first of each of these spheres. So we've got volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi cubed, and that's equal to 150. So at this point, we've got to do some rearrangement. So we're going to do, I'll do one step at a time, all right? So 4 pi cubed equals 150 multiplied by 3. We've got 4 pi cubed is equal to 450. And then r cubed equals 450 divided by 4 pi. And then r is equal to the third root of 450 divided by 4 pi. So what's going to happen is we're going to end up with an r, but before doing that, now if you want to put the third root, you're going to use this button here, the one with the little x in front of the square root. So we're going to go 3 shift like that, and then we're going to type in 450 divided by, let's actually go with this one here, and we're going to put in 4 pi. So my radius should be just want to double check that. Yep, radius is equal to 3.296. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by 2 to get the diameter. Oh, what did I do? So if the radius is 3.296, so remember that when you have a circle, that this is the radius, and then this part here is the diameter. So that's why I'm doing 2 times 3.296, and that's going to get me 6.59. So that's going to be 6.59 centimeters. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to use this particular measurement to figure out our dimensions of the cuboid and the cylinder. So we're going to take, let's do the cuboid first, shall we? Yeah, let's do the cuboid first. And I'm going to get rid of this little diagram here. Just move it somewhere here. So we're going to do the cuboid. And if you look at the cuboid, in the front, from the front view here, we've actually got 2 balls that we can see. And from the side view, we can actually see 3 of them. So if that's the case, and I know my diagram is actually terrible, so we're gonna, I think it says the spheres fit tightly into the box. So that means the edges are touching the cardboard box. So if that's the case, we've actually got 2 spheres here, which is gonna be 2 times the diameter, which is this length right here. Then on this one, we've actually got 3 times the diameter length. And then as for the height, it's just going to be 1 lot of the diameter. So if we were to calculate the volume of the cuboid, that's going to be base times height times width. And I you know, there's all of different types of formulas that you can have got here. It doesn't matter. If you want to find volume of cuboid, just multiply those 3 dimensions, right? So here I'm going to get 2d times d times 3d, which is going to give me 6d cubed. Now, you don't need to do it this way. You could have actually done it straight away like this. So you might have actually gone 2 times 6.59 multiplied by 3 times 6.59 and multiplied by 6.59. Either way you do it, it's absolutely fine. And so you could have actually done this. Sorry, I just realized I kind of overstepped that. So in this one, you can actually go at 6 times 6.59 to the power of 3 and then get whatever the answer. Or you can do it the second method as well. So it's either is actually fine. So I'm just going to go 6 times the answer to the power of 3. And that's going to give me 1718. So the volume 1718.87 centimeter cubed. Now this is the volume of the cuboid. The cuboid actually has got 6 balls in it. So we've got to go 1718.87 minus the 6. Each of the ball is 150. So I got to take away 150 from it. So I'm going to take this answer minus 6 times 150. And that's going to give me wasted space. I think I should put, or empty space. So the empty space is going to be 818.87 centimeter cubed. Just realized I got that wrong there. Now this is for the cuboid. Now I'm going to actually work out the cylinder one. So the cylinder, what's happening is your radius for the cylinder is equal to, I think we found it as 3.296. And altogether that one had, sorry, terrible diagram, six of those balls. So that means that is going to be 6 times the diameter. So that's what the height of the cylinder is. So if we go back to the formula sheet, here's my cylinder. My cylinder is right there. And I need to figure out the volume of cylinder. That's going to be pi r squared h. Now we've got the r. We also have that height, which is the six balls. So that's going to be 6 lots of the diameter. And then we just need to work out the volume of this. So volume of cylinder is pi r squared h. So we're going to get pi times 3.296 squared times 6d. Now d is equal to 6.59. And I guess we're going to try and do that all together in one shot. So I've got shift pi multiplied by r, which is 3.296 squared, multiplied by 6 multiplied by 6.59. Remember there's 6 balls, so that's why the height is 6 of those balls, which is times the diameter, right? 6 times the diameter. So we should get roughly 1349.46 centimeter cubed. Now, if we were to look at the empty space for the cylinder, that's going to be 1349.46 minus 6 times 150, because we've actually got, again, we've got 6 balls in there. So we're going to go minus 6 times 150. So that's going to give me 449.46 centimeter cubed. But if we look at the question, so far we've actually figured out which one has the greater empty space, but we've got to calculate the percentage of empty space inside each container. So if we want to actually work out the percentage, then what we need to do is we're going to go percentage empty. Here we've got 818.87, and that's divided by the volume of the cuboid, which is 1718.87, and we're going to multiply it by 100. So we got 818.87 divided by 1718.87 times 100, and that's going to give me 47.64 as the empty space. 47.64 percentage as empty space. As for the cylinder, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take 449.46 divided by 1349.46, and I'm going to multiply it by 100. And that's going to give me 33.33% for empty space. Oh, sorry, 31. And from here, we can actually confirm that the cylinder has less empty space. Pretty much, guys, that is the question there. Look, to be honest, I actually think this is a really neat question, because once you figure out what that radius is, you're pretty much good to go, and you can kind of like, answer everything one step at a time. So grades wise, we're looking at radius of a single tennis ball is achieved. So that is up here. That's going to get you an achieved. Consistent volume. So let's say you make a mistake with the radius and then you get the volume correct based on your wrong radius, you could still get an achieved for it. Empty space in the regular box or empty space in the cylinder gets you a merit. So your merit actually comes from this or this. Empty space in the rectangular box and cylindrical box, and correct decision made, but no reference to percentages. So let's say you compare the two empty spaces, and then from here you say that, hey, cylinder has actually got less empty space because of the 449. You could actually get an E7, but if you actually work out the percentages and write the statement, you actually end up getting an E8. And I believe that's question 1, folks. All right, folks, so let's go with question 2A here. So what we've got is find size of X, angle BAD. This is a bit interesting here. What do we got? Length of BD is 10 centimeters, so that's 10. If that's 10, the perimeter is 60. Okay, so we're kind of struggling here because we can't really see 4 equal length sides. Oh, right, okay, that took me a while. So let's look at this. BD is 10 centimeters, so this is going to be 10 centimeters. And if this is 10 centimeters, because they're equal, this could be said as 5 and 5. Now it also says that the rhombus is a shape with 4 equal length sides. That means these pink lines, they are all equal to each other. And the perimeter is 60. If the perimeter is 60, that means each of these pink lines are going to be 15. Now we need to figure out what X is, but I'm just going to look at this angle here, and that's going to be X divided by 2 because it's only half the angle. So kind of breaking down the triangle, I am going to have 5, 15, and X over 2. So using SOHCAHTOA here, I've got opposite and hypotenuse. So I'm going to use sine of the angle, which is X over 2, equals opposite over hypotenuse. So sine of X over 2 equals 5 over 15. And then X over 2 is equal to inverse sine of 5 over 15. So I'm going to go into the calculator and I'm going to do shift sine 5 over 15. Now, I got this really funny looking answer, 0.33. Now, the reason this happens is because my calculator is actually in the incorrect mode. So I just want to double check. So there we go. When I click on shift setup, I can go down to angle, and that's currently on radians, and I need to change it to degrees. And if I try that again, I'm going to get 19.47. So X over 2 equals 19.47 degrees, which means X is equal to, I'm going to bring the 2 across, and that's going to become 2 times 19.47, which gives me 38.94 degrees. So grades wise, for an achieved, this line right here gets you an achieved. And 43 point calculator is gradients. Yeah, I'm not sure how they got 43.27 for calculator in gradients. But yeah, 38.94 gets you a merit. All right, let's go to the next question. So looking at this question, we've got to find the area of the green stripe there. Now, the way I'm going to work this question out is I am going to take this entire rectangle, which is the yellow rectangle, and I'm going to subtract the pink triangle as well as the area of the green triangle. Okay, what do we got here? So the yellow triangle minus the pink triangle minus the green triangle equals to the gray strip, which I don't have a, just going to put that as this color here. So that's that little strip there. So let's actually work out first area of the rectangle. Now to figure out the area of rectangle, my base is equal to 30 because I've actually got 2 plus 28. That's going to equal to 30. But what I don't have is the height of the rectangle, nor do I have the height of the pink triangle or the green triangle. So I need to work that out first. So I'm going to take the pink triangle, and what I've got here is 33 degrees, 28 meters, and I'm going to use SOHCAHTOA because that's going to be opposite. This is going to be adjacent. So I'm going to use tan. So tan 33 equals opposite over adjacent. Tan 33 equals opposite over 28. And then cross multiply. So I'm going to get 28 multiplied by tan 33 equals opposite. So the opposite side is 28 times tan 33. That's going to give me 18.18. So 18.18 meters is the height of the rectangle as well as the pink triangle and the green triangle. All right, so now let's work at the rectangle first. So the area of the rectangle, that's going to be 30 for the base and 18.18 minus the pink triangle, which is, pink triangle is going to be 28 and 18.18 minus the green triangle, which also happens to be 28 and 18.18. So here I'm going to get area of a rectangle is base times height, so 30 times 18.18 minus area of a triangle is half times base times height minus the green triangle, which is a half times 28 times 18.18. And when I do this in the calculator, I'm going to do 30 times 18.18 minus 0.5 times 28 times 18.18 minus 28 times 0.5 times 18.18. So that's going to give me 36.36 meters squared. So the area of the gray strip is going to be 36.36. So I might just put like area of FEBC equals 36.36. Now the grades wise, what are we looking at for this question? Finding CD with evidence of trigonometry. So CD is there. That's going to give you an achieved. Finding length of CE. What is CE? The hypotenuse. I don't know why you would need that, but if you find it, you get an achieved. Final answer gets you a merit. Should put meter squared there. I don't think you get penalized. No, I would definitely put the units there. I wouldn't not do that. So yeah, a couple of ways of doing this question. What's the other way that you can do? Nah, I think this is the best way. This is the best way to find the little strip right there. There we go. Cool, let's go to the next question. That's a lot to go through. All right, while this question looks horrible, it's, to be honest, after I read through, it was actually not that bad. So anyway, let's have a look at this. The first thing to kind of keep an eye on is this part right here, symmetrical trapezium. So that means this trapezium is actually symmetrical. And what we've been given is the length from here to here is 2K. So 2K is actually from here to here. Let's try that again. Now, and if we got 4K at the base and 2K has been taken away, this length is K, this length is also K. The question is asking you to show that the length PF, so PF is this thing right here, and they're asking you to show that this is 1.7321K. So all we're going to do is we're going to take that triangle apart, where this is going to be F, P, P, and B. We've got a K here, and just to highlight, this is the green part that we need to show, and kind of like the yellow part is there for the trapezium. Right? I'm just looking at the edge of the trapezium. So I need to figure out what the opposite is and the adjacent. I've also been given the angle, which is 60 degrees. So I'm going to use TOA, so tan. So tan of 60 degrees is opposite over adjacent. Now the opposite is FP, which is the green highlighted part. That's the opposite. And that's equal to tan 60 divided by adjacent, which happens to be K. So I'm going to cross multiply this, but let's actually do tan 60 first on the calculator. Tan 60 is equal to square root of 3, which is the same as 1.73. So we've got 1.7321 equals FP over K. And then we cross multiply it. We're going to get FP is equal to 1.7321 K. And we've actually proven that PF is equal to 1.7321. So that's going to get you an achieved. And we move on to the next question. Right, so the next question is that we've actually been given the volume of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H is 649.519. Okay, so that basically means we go back to this shape here, right? What you have is the volume of this shape equals to 649.51. I might actually do this question on the side here, even though I've created the space down at the bottom. It's fine. So I think the volume was 649.519 meter cubed, and we needed to find what the value of K is. So remember that when you find volume of a shape, you take the cross-sectional area multiplied by the height or the length, and you actually end up getting the volume. So the equation for this, and I just want to double check this, and I think it has been given, yes. So if we go to the formula sheet, we're actually going to use this one here, which is the volume of prism is area of cross-section times length. But the area of cross-section is actually the trapezium. That's the cross-section, right? And then we're going to multiply it by its length. So when we go back to our trapezium kind of funny looking shape here, this part right here, this pink part, this is the cross-sectional area, and then this is the length. So our equation is going to be the area of a trapezium, which is this thing here, half times A plus B times H. So that's area of the trapezium multiplied by the length. So let's just kind of put that all out there. So the area of trapezium is a half times A plus B times H times whatever the length is. Now what we've got to do is, I'm actually going to go back and find out all these measurements here. So the A part is 2K. The B part is the 4K. I'm going to keep working. The H is, what do we figure out as HS? Oh, that's FP. So that's 1.732K, because remember that was the height right there of the trapezium. Then the length, I'm running out of pens. No, red, green, let's go black. The length is going to be 8K. And all of this is equal to 649.519 equals a half. Now A is equal to 2K, B is equal to 4K, H is equal to 1.7321K, and that's multiplied with the length, which happens to be 8K. So let's just check that again. 2K is the A value, 4K is the B value, 1.732K is the height, and then 8K is the length of the trapezoid. I don't even know what shape you'd call this. Anyway, so we're going to do all of this. So we're going to have 649.519. Now I'm going to do one step at a time, right? I'm going to do 8k times half first, so that's going to equal 4k. 4k multiplied by, in the bracket, I'm going to get 6k, multiplied by 1.732k. So now I'm going to do 649.519 equals, and I'm going to multiply all these numbers here. So I've got 4 times 6 times 1.732. I'm just going to use shift answer. And that's going to give me 41.569 k cubed. Next, I can say that k cubed is equal to 649.519. And maybe let me just do it this way, because I know sometimes I rush through. I'm going to rewrite this now. Just, where did it go? I'm going to rewrite this as 41.569 k cubed equals 649.519. Then k cubed is equal to 649.519 divided by 41.569. So 649.519 divided by answer. That's going to give me k cubed is equal to 15.62. Then I'm going to say k is equal to the third root of 15.62. So I'm going to go 3, shift this little x thing, and then answer. That's going to give me roughly 2.5 meters. So k is equal to 2.5 meters. Now grades wise, correct expression for ABFE. Where is ABFE? That's the trapezium. Okay, so if you get up to, well, it's kind of weird because I've actually done this all in one shot. I guess if you set up this equation, sensible working from an incorrect, okay, yeah. So you could get an achieved here. Merit value is if you get the wrong answer for k, but like you made a slight mistake, but you still got, you can show the working, you can get a k. If you use graphics calculator for this, I think you would, and you find k, but without evidence of clear working, you can actually get a merit. T1 is correct value of k with minor error, but clear working. But ultimately, you can get an E8 if you actually show all of your working and get an answer of 2.5 meters. So I'll just put the answer schedule up. As you can see, that's pretty much it. You might want to pause and just kind of read through how you'd answer these questions. And folks, that's basically question 2. We go to question 3 next. All right, starting with question 3, what we've got is coordinates of the y-axis intercept for this exponential graph. So if you want to find the coordinates of the y-axis intercept, we just put x equals to 0. And we got to figure out what y is. So we're going to get y is equal to 5 times 3 times 0 plus 2 plus 4. That's going to give us 5 to the power of 2 plus 4. And that is 29. So the coordinates is going to be 0, 29. And just like that, get an achieved. And we move on to the next question. Now I'm looking at this second question here, and it's basically saying, find the equation for given x value. And it's a really odd one because it actually says justify your answer by showing appropriate mathematical working. I find this question a bit strange because if I was to, I mean, I can do this in the calculator straight away, right? Because I can go to stat mode and I put in those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then 24, 35, 48, 63, and 80. Now when I click on calc, is it one variable? No, that's the wrong one. Hang on. Graph, go to graph 1, calc, and then if I click on x squared, I actually end up with this equation here. Now that's the answer, right? Like y equals x squared plus 8x plus 15. So if I write this, I'm really struggling to understand it, but I'll try and explain it. X squared plus 8x plus 15. This is the answer for this question. When you look at the answer schedule, they give you this answer. It says correct answer only gets you an achieved. So that means if I had done just this without any working, I actually get achieved. But if you look at the answer schedule, it says correct equation with some justification, and I'm trying to think how I do this. I'd probably do something like this, and maybe you can try this as well. I would do this. I'd go 24 plus 35 is 11, and then 35 plus 48 is 13, 15, 17, and if I go backwards one step, I would get like plus 9. That means I can say when x is equal to 0, y equals 24 take away 9, which equals to 15. I could say that's the y-intercept. I could also say this thing here, where plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. And then I could say something like, since second difference is equal to 2, therefore a is equal to 2 divided by 2. So a value is equal to 1. And that's pretty much what this value in front of x squared is. And then the 15 is this part here. Now, apart from that, I don't know how. That's one way of showing the answers, but I'm surprised that they haven't actually done that in the answer schedule. So yeah, interesting question. So I guess this would be justified, I guess, with merit. Funny question, that one. All right, let's go to the next part of this question, part 2. Okay, so we've got the graph here as y equals x squared plus 8x plus 15. That was the graph from the previous example. Now what they're asking is identify features of the graph using your answer. So I would, look, you can just draw the graph. Right, you get this, but like, let's go back to, I want to actually go back to the stat mode, right? Let's just go, what are we doing? X squared. Now see this button here, copy. We're going to click on copy. We're going to do that. We're going to go into menu. We're going to go into graph and see how that's 1x squared plus 8x plus 15. That's already copied there. And of course, it's going to show me this. I don't know why it always does that. And I know I need to figure out why that happens. But there's the graph. I'm going to click on Shift and View Window, and I'm just going to change it to normal initial window just to have a look at the graph. So there is my graph. All right. Now it's asking for 3 different features. So a bit cheeky, but you could do this. You could actually look for the roots, which are like the points where it actually crosses the x-axis. So you can see, you can actually say roots are at -5, 0. And then you can click on the next side button and -3 and 0. Sometimes you can actually say that the answer has solutions at -3 and -5. We can look at the y-intercept. So we could actually go exit. No, I'm going to click on draw. I'm going to click on gsolve y-intercept, which is F4. That's at 0, 15. So we can say y-intercept is at 0, 15. We can also look at the minimum value here. So we can go to gsolve and click on minimum. So minimum value at -4, -1. We also can see that the line is symmetrical when x equals to 4. So we can say line of symmetry at x equals to -4. We also know that this is going to be a positive parabola. So we can say positive parabola. And we can also give its range, because range is all the y values that it can take. So range is going to be y is greater than or equal to -1. You can also say intercepts, x-intercepts at -5 and -3, or y-intercept at 15 as well. So we've given 6 of these features. I think 1 feature will get you an achieved. At least 3 will get you a merit. Not a bad question. All right, let's go to C1. In this equation, we've got, okay. So from what I can tell here, they just say find the equation of the line. There's no indication of slow justification or anything like that. And because of that, let's just go to the graphics calculator and just do that real quickly. So we've got 5, 4, and 9, 2, 5 and 9, 4 at -2, And we're going to click on graph 1, calc, and x, ax plus b. So our equation for line f is going to be y is equal to negative 1.5x plus 11.5. Now, let's say you don't have a calculator, you've got to kind of do this manually. If you're going to do this manually, you need to find the gradient first. So to find the gradient, we need to go m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So this is, let's take this as x1 and y1. This is x2 and y2. y2 is negative 2 minus 4 divided by x2, which is 9 minus 5. So we're going to get negative 6 divided by 4, which equals to negative 1.5. So this is the gradient. Notice how you got the gradient right there? That's the gradient. Next, we can just put that as y equals mx plus c. So we got to figure out what the c value is. And I'm going to choose the point 5, 4. So my y value is 4. My gradient m, which is negative 1.5. X is 5 plus c. So I've got 4 equals negative 7.5 plus c. And then c is equal to 4 plus 7.5. That's going to give me 11.5. So the equation of the line is negative 1.5x plus 11.5. But weirdly enough, for this question, they don't actually ask you for any kind of working out. It's just a straightforward achieved question with just the formula right there. So yeah, you can use the graphics calculator for this one and just stop there to get an achieved. All right, let's go to the next question. All right, so we are using the equation from the previous line there, which is equation f. Equation f was y is equal to negative 1.5x plus 11.5. And what this question is asking us to do is to figure out where f and g intersect each other. Now you can draw this on the previous page, but drawing it, it's like you're not going to get accurate answers, because if you stuff up the line, you're not going to get the exact points. So the best way to do it is through algebra. And this one is nice and simple because all you have to do is just substitute and you're pretty much good to go. So I'm going to do substitution here, because if you look at equation G, that is x minus 2y minus 9 is equal to 0. And I already know what y is equal to, because this entire thing is equal to y. So I'm going to have x minus 2 times negative 1.5x plus 11.5 minus 9 is equal to 0. So expanding the brackets, so I've got minus 2 times this, minus 2 times 11.5. I am going to get plus, what is it, negative 2 and 1.5, that's going to be 3x, plus 23 minus 9 equals to 0. So I've got 4x is equal to 14, or am I doing it wrong? 23 minus 9, is it negative 23? Yes, it is negative 23. So that's going to be negative 32 equals to 0. And then 4x is equal to positive 32. X is equal to 32 divided by 4. So x is equal to 8. Now if x equals to 8, I can figure out what y is. And I can substitute it in either equation. I'm going to use it in f. So y is equal to negative 1.5x plus 11.5. I got negative 1.5 times 8 plus 11.5. So that's going to be negative 12 plus 11.5, which is equal to negative 0.5. So the intersection is going to be at 8 and negative 0.5. Awesome. So grades wise, we are looking at, because I did this through algebraic method, I am going to give, if you find x equals to 8, I reckon that's going to be an achieved. And then identifying the point is going to be a merit. But yeah, you can actually do this by the graphs method. You could draw the line. Now, if you look at it like to draw the line, you'd actually write this as x minus 2y minus 9 equals to 0. And then negative 2y equals negative x plus 9. Y is equal to negative x over negative 2 plus 9 over negative 2, which means the equation is going to look like this: negative positive 0.5x minus 4.5. And if you draw that line, positive, I might as well do it, positive 0.5x minus 4.5. So minus 4.5 is going to be somewhere here. And we're doing positive 0.5x. So that's, what is it, half? So 2 across 1. Yeah. And then, now this is, I've had problems with this because I can't seem to get the ruler to actually work. Oh, it does. Perfect. So if I do that, okay, I don't know how to get rid of the ruler now. Okay. So you can kind of see, you know, it's not really accurate. If I had drawn it accurate, I would get this point, which is 8 and negative 0.5. So you're kind of guessing and checking there with a straight line. And that's why it's better to do it algebraically so you actually get the correct answer. Okay, let's go to the next question. These types of questions are my favorite types of questions, but beautiful questions. I love these questions. And they're actually not too hard, guys. It's just need to understand a couple of rules and you're pretty much good to go. So this question is actually asking you to prove y in terms of x. And the key thing is having a look at this 9 right there. The 9 can be written as 3 squared. So that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to write this as 3 to the power of 2x plus 3 times 3 squared to the power of x equals 3 to the power of 4 minus 3y. All right, so all I've done here is I've just written 9 as 3 squared. Now, one of the rules about powers of powers, remember that when you have a to the power of m to the power of n, we can say that this is m times n. Based on that idea, I am going to do 2x plus 3 multiplied by 3. The 2 times x will become 2x equals 3 to the power of 4 minus 3y. Now, the next rule to remember is if you do am times an, this is a to the power of m plus n. And this is what I'm going to be doing with these two powers here. I'm just going to add them. So they're going to look like 3 to the power of 2x plus 3 plus 2x equals 3 to the power of 4 minus 3y. Now I'm going to combine my like terms, which is 2x and 2x. That's going to be 3 to the power of 4x plus 3 equals 3 to the power of 4 minus 3y. Now, because both the bases are the same, we can forget about the bases and just say whatever is in the power should equal to whatever on the power on the left and right hand side. So ignore the bases and we just write 4x plus 3 equals 4 minus 3y. Next, we want y on the left hand side. So I'm just going to rewrite this as 4 minus 3y equals 4x plus 3. Then I've got negative 3y equals 4x plus 3 minus 4. And that's going to give me negative 3y equals 4x minus 1. And then y is equal to 4x minus 1 divided by negative 3. Now, some people like to get very protective about negatives being in the denominator. So we can just rewrite this as negative 4x plus 1 over 3. So grades wise, reaching stage 1 gets you an achieved. So this is crazy. Like, you know, just changing that 9 and writing that as 3 squared will get you an achieved. Stage 2, where you get merit, is up to here. You can get E8 for the final answer. Unless you make a minor mistake, then you would actually end up getting an E7. Yeah, so that's pretty much question D there. Having a look at the actual cut scores, guys, I think this one you only need 7 to get an achieved. For merit, it's at 14, and excellence is at 21. So yeah, you've got to get at least, I would say, two 6s and an 8. So no, not an 8, 2 6s. So you need at least 2 excellence questions correct to get excellence in this paper. Otherwise, you'll only get 2 M6s will give you 12 plus 8, which is a maximum 8 points. That gives you 20. So that's still only going to be at a merit. So you need at least 2 excellence questions correct in this paper to get an excellence grade. All right, folks, so that's basically it for this exam paper there. It wasn't too bad. I mean, I felt it was a bit of a short paper. I mean, the questions were straightforward to go through, nothing too complicated. As for you, when you guys get to your test or exam, make sure you attempt every question. All right, don't leave anything empty. And yeah, keep up with the revision. I think that's really important. Just keep trying all these different types of questions. Okay, wish you all the best for your exams.
Hey guys, that is basically it for this video. As always, don't forget to like this video, share this video, And of course, subscribe to keep up with the latest content. There should be some playlists popping up. Check them out. Great revision material. And as always, thank you for watching.